This is Conscious Conversations, hosted by Information Depository. Always remember, opinions are subjective. The truth is objective. The opinions in this podcast are merely subjective tools tailored to guide the listener to the objective truth.
Boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
So I want us to do the thing we did last time where we got into the swing of a conversation and then we press record.
Well, I had a different perspective.
Okay.
And that perspective is not coming from, I'm just diving straight into asking you questions. Don't worry, I'm not here to.
You're not here to interview me.
So, for starters,
Yeah.
many people might not know this, but dude, we did it.
Right.
We did it.
Yeah.
And just to give context,
Yeah.
someone might listen to the first episode and imagine it was something that was thoroughly planned out,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing that
We
technically
just wanted to do a test
it
run,
was
bro.
literally just
We just wanted to test run to make sure that it works.
yeah, it was
That is
literally
giving
just
exactly what we wanted to give.
I was thinking about what we did last week, and the first thing that came to mind, there's this saying, the hardest time to do something is the first time.
Yes.
And essentially, once you have been able to break that yoke, what you're essentially doing is repetition.
Mm-hmm.
And you are also aware of how long we have been having conversations
Regarding this.
and the different concepts and all that. Essentially, for most of last year, it's been conceptual conversations.
Without anything actually coming to maturation.
Yeah. And suddenly, in 24 hours, we scale from
0 to 100.
from 0 to 100.
Nah, I really felt proud of us that day. I felt proud of us that day because there is a shift that happens when you can bring something to fruition gross materially,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yes, it's good to have ideas. Yes, it's good to eventuate, if you will. But once you finally have something tangible, something that you can transfer onto another person,
Mm-hmm.
and they would glean from it exactly, or at least almost exactly what it is you intend for them to glean from
Yeah.
the thing. I think it's a beautiful experience.
And just for the context of people who are outside our space now, we don't know when they will hear the first episode, but
Yes,
just so they know, it was done on the 24th of March, 2026.
2026.
A day shy of where I ideally would have preferred it. You know why
I
I
know
have.
why, yes.
Well, I will manage
It's
that.
close
It's
enough.
close enough.
It's
Yeah,
close
so
enough.
we'll take it.
We'll take it.
And this is the second episode, a week, technically a week.
Roughly.
No, Wednesday, right?
Yes, I think.
And this is
So a week and 2-3 days after
Good Friday, to be more specific. So,
Friday,
mhm. So maybe we can now delve into the discourse. I'll start with this. I don't know if you have heard this statement being used before. It could be maybe you're watching a show, an interview, listening to people, and someone is expressing himself or herself, and in the course of it, be like, "This is my truth. This is your truth. This is
my truth, your truth,
You understand?
personal truth.
So it creates like two separate concepts in my head. One is the personalization of truth in the form of my truth, and another is the truth. So the question I have for you is, what is your own impression from those two angles?
Perspectives of
yeah,
truth.
you could start with anyone you want to start with, whether it's people who make reference to my truth or what. But I'm interested in understanding your
Okay, valid. The first thing that comes to mind is this old parable or story of an elephant and a small group of blind people who only get to touch a part of the elephant, right? So everybody knows, well, almost everybody knows what an elephant is. It's one of the largest land animals, if not the largest land animal, right? And you get a group of people, maybe 4 or 5 or 6, they get to touch one part of the elephant, the hide, the skin, the trunk, the tusk, the tail that's a bit hairy. So you touch the tail and you think, this creature is hairy. You touch the tusk and you think this creature is really hard and bony.
Yeah, like Rocky.
Like Rocky, exactly. You touch the trunk and it's like, oh, you have this long, it's almost like a serpent, like a snake, because you have this long nose thing. Then you touch the leg and it feels like a horse or it feels like a rhinoceros. You could come up with different descriptions from touching different parts of the elephant,
Of the same elephant.
of the same elephant, of one single animal, right? And in many ways, they're not wrong. They're not wrong in the sense that, yes, what you're touching right now is exactly what your sensation tells you it is. Where they get it wrong is in projecting their immediate sensation in that moment onto the entire thing. So if you're touching the hairy tail and then you think it's a hairy animal, or if you're touching a tusk and you think it's this rocky, bony creature, right? So
And you think you've seen it all.
and you think you've seen it all, yes. And I think there's a lesson to be learned there where just because this perspective you have is true to your reality doesn't mean it's the only way in which truth manifests. So to tie it to the bigger question you posed, I think what people term their personal truths are essentially perspectives based on their experiencing and not necessarily the encapsulation of truth. I don't know if.
So for starters, as a phrase, is that
Yeah.
actually an ideal phrase?
I wouldn't say it's an ideal phrase. I see it more as colloquial. So by colloquial, I mean something you say informally so that somebody else understands what you're saying, but it doesn't quite capture the real thing. The right phrase or the ideal phrase would be my perspective and not my personal truth. Because in reality, truth is singular objective. The creature is an elephant. That is the truth. The descriptions that the different blind persons came up with are simply projections of their perception of the truth.
Yeah.
And as we get to see, can be limiting.
Because that was part of what some of the thoughts that were circulating in my head and the longing to understand the word truth also came up. So it's like, from your own impression, what do you draw from the word? Or how do you understand the word truth?
Yes. So the word truth, as I understand it, is the thing, no, not the thing, because truth is beyond just the thing. Truth is more often conceptual than tangible. Truth is the essential representation of a thing or a concept or a reality in its most authentic self. Now, I'm throwing in words like essential and authentic because I'm trying to find a way to define truth without saying true. Because truth is anything that is true.
Well,
Right?
well, we're going to touch on that
Yeah.
because let me just give you a preview. Another concept that came to mind was the concept of fact
Yes.
and the difference between
Truth
the truth and
fact.
fact.
Yes.
Yes, because I think unintentionally we misuse both.
Yes. We interuse them.
Or our understanding of both is heavily interwoven.
Yeah.
We consider the truth to be a fact.
Yes. And then we project
A fact.
a fact as the truth. Yes.
Uh-huh.
I think I have a more precise definition of facts. Facts are a measurable and observable reality that within a certain space and time can be attested to by a third party, right? So when I say this remote is black, that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
and less of a truth, because the color that society has recognized as black is something we can see to be the color of this remote. I can see it, you can see it, and any other person can see
They do
it.
some of these tests online. Like someone could share something, I'm like, what color is this?
What color is this exactly?
Go to the comment section and like half of the people are saying dark blue.
Dark blue.
Some other people are like,
yeah. So the remote being black is a fact, and then a truth is then the, let's say, universal, unchangeable reality, which is, let's say, the physics behind how the remote works.
Mhm.
And you might have a better knowledge on how remotes work. But essentially, you have, so the buttons send a signal. The signal is recognized by the TV or whatever device you're controlling with the remote, and then that sends the signal back to inform the remote that it performed the function, right? So truth is universal.
Mm.
Truth is singular. Truth is eternal.
Yeah.
The physics of the remote operating the way it's supposed to operate does not change, right? And that's why I like the word you used just now, which is eternal. Being it's unchangeable, it's eternal, it's is.
Yeah, the truth is.
The truth is.
Yeah, it's a very simple statement, but there's a lot to get away from that statement. And you have shared your perspective, and if I could share mine, which it's in line with a good number of what you have said, I've always seen it as the eternal of what is, what has always been, what is, and what will always be.
Yeah.
And in comparison with, for starters, the first question I asked, where people are like, my truth and the truth. You gave a very solid example. And the example I had in mind also seems parallel to that. So, two actually.
Yeah.
Why in the same room, two of us?
Yeah.
I'm close to the door, you're close to a window. If they ask you, what do you see? You can say you see a window.
Yeah.
If they ask me, what do I see? I can say, I see a door. And just like you said, those are actually accurate facts.
Yes.
But the truth is, the room contains both
the window and the door.
Now, to now interrogate the statement, my truth, better. It feels like a convenient way of bending something objective to be subjective. And here's what I mean.
I see.
You get it, right?
I think I'm catching on to it. So, in other words, by virtue of, at least by our definition of the truth being unchangeable and eternal, there is an objectivity to that.
Yes.
There is an impersonal element to that.
Exactly.
Where the truth is, you don't get to claim ownership.
You don't get to claim ownership. And you
of
just
truth.
gave me the perfect build up for the next example I was about to give. I'll give two.
Okay.
One is gravity. Gravity is. Now,
just
there's nothing like
is,
my gravity
and your gravity.
What's the formula for it? 10 ms. What does that mean again?
10 meter per second squared.
Yes.
That's the acceleration to gravity.
Yeah, acceleration to gravity. And if you're
more like 9.81, sorry, the nerd in me is
you
need.
let's push that to the pepper.
Yeah.
But according to physics, that's the standard formula for it. And that standard formula applies to everything. Whether you, me,
the cup of ice cream and everything between,
the best we could do is to find how to align with it. So for instance, if you're upstairs and I need you to throw my shirt down for me, it's essentially gravity that is helping me.
Yes.
And you're taking advantage of gravity to bring it down faster than walking down.
Yeah.
And if you also jump down from that staircase,
it's
and
gravity
you fall
that brings
and
you
break
down.
your foot,
Yeah.
it's gravity that helped you get to
I don't know if you say, I don't know if you call that help though.
It helps.
I get what you mean, yes.
You didn't align yourself in a manner that it's in harmony.
In harmony with
your body against it.
Yes.
And that was
that's how you got
consequence. Because it was
the leg fracture.
Exactly. It was just acting in the way it should. Like as far as you're in this space and time, you are subject to gravity.
To gravity.
Another thing is the sun.
Yeah.
The sun is. The same sun, you come out by 6, 7 a.m. and you're running, and it's part of what's linked to what will keep your body healthy.
Yes.
And
You feel refreshed.
You feel refreshed.
Yeah.
You will maybe run for an hour, and you come out by 2, 3 p.m., 1 p.m., 12 p.m.
It's
and the
sweltering
same sun
hot,
is now
and you feel like you're about to
responsible
die from heat stroke.
for making you feel so exhausted.
Yes.
Same sun. It's not partial to anyone.
Anyone or anything.
Is.
It just
You
is.
can't say my son.
Your son.
It's the sun.
Yes.
So that was the mental picture that came to mind when I was comparing those two concepts of the truth and my truth.
Yeah.
Now, to move on to the second one I had asked with regards to facts and the truth. I told you I'm going to bring you into.
Ooh, I'm all ears.
Now, this is the picture I had for facts. Earlier today, I had asked you, I bought this ginger drink.
Yes.
And I asked you, do you want to taste it? And what was your response?
I said something like, yeah, I've had something like this before.
You have had something like this before.
Yeah.
And you went on to start justifying how you have had something like this before by expressing how your wife
made something similar
and listing all the contents.
The ingredients, yes.
Now, those in my head felt like facts.
Fair.
But the true experiencing of what this particular ginger drink tastes like, you don't know it.
No, I don't, because I haven't had it.
You know the facts about what it contains.
Yes.
But you don't know the experience behind it. You know the facts about what is contained in a bread. But for each particular bread, you need to taste it to know
truly what it tastes
truly
like.
what it tastes like.
The taste is in the pudding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So facts felt more intellectual.
Or the taste of the pudding is in the eating.
It's in the eating, yeah. So facts felt more intellectual to me. Like you go to school, you learn about facts.
Yes, you get
memorize
facts,
it,
you get information,
you get it, you
and
understand.
then you get to process all the information.
But you don't really know most.
Yes,
it's just what you were told.
You can only truly know through experiencing
the thing. And the truth, the concept of the truth is heavily interwoven with experiencing.
Yeah.
In my own opinion,
especially for, yes, you can intellectualize gravity. I want to go back to the example you made about gravity being adjacent to truth. Gravity is, truth is. You can read up about gravity, you can study it, but to truly understand it, you have to experience it. Not just in your own body, right? Where you jump off a really high platform and you get injured because gravity pulls you down, but also in building things in your day-to-day interaction, you can definitely experience gravity.
And you see how you align yourself
with it
to create more constructive things.
Yes. Because the moment you deviate from that alignment, your activities fall away and you then get to have accidents, not just bodily accidents, but even instrumental or technological accidents. So, yeah.
Yeah. So also the ocean, for instance, the waves of the ocean was what came to mind as well. And for a good surfer, the art of surfing is heavily linked with understanding the waves and how to use the waves
crash against the shores.
How to use the waves to facilitate your activity.
Yeah.
As against
I see.
surfing
You're not necessarily surfing yourself.
Not surfing
Yeah, you're surfing in alignment. I'm going to borrow your word.
Yeah.
In alignment with the waves.
The waves.
Yes, as they come.
And in several regards, I've always felt that's how we as human beings should be, because it now brings us to a question of what is the truth around life?
Yeah.
Understanding life, creation, and we're essentially like that surfer who, in understanding the ocean better, invariably improves how well we can navigate on the ocean.
So I want to be sure I understand you. You're saying how best we understand the truth of life and align with it is similar to how a surfer excels at surfing when he understands how the waves come and go and how the ways flow. And
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just to take a step back a bit, there's a picture that just came to mind, and you might help me with this because you know more about this intellectual.
I'm all ears. So let's hear it.
There's a story around Isaac. I believe it's Isaac Newton.
Okay.
Who was sitting under an apple tree.
It is Isaac Newton.
And an apple drops.
Yes.
And that process of an apple dropping was what informed what we now mathematically use. What's that?
The law of gravitation. So I think
exactly.
It's F equals to G M1 M2 divided by R squared. Yeah.
And
I might be wrong.
so not the thing.
But you're right. That's the legend of how Isaac Newton happened upon the idea for the theory.
And we've gone through our schooling system learning this fact. But Isaac Newton
experienced it.
The truth.
Yes. Yes.
And that was what informed the whole thing. So in so many ways, we just learn it, memorize it, but we don't understand.
And we learn it as a fact, as a factoid, as just like, okay, there's this bit of information. It's gravity. This is how it works. Isaac Newton sort of like
how to apply it.
Discover the formulation for it, and that's it. Yeah, we move on. We solve a few.
Use it to pass our exam.
Physics problems. You get your A's, and that's about it.
And I feel, as far as life is concerned, if we were to draw parallel between this life in general, a lot of us replicate what we do in school with that in our day-to-day life. So there are several things we have probably also been told.
Yes, and we just go along with the flow. Yeah.
And we don't fully experience it to understand and draw from it the benefit it truly has. And essentially, through that understanding comes a sense of conviction.
Through not just the understanding, but through the experiencing comes the conviction.
Yeah, the experiencing is tied to the understanding.
Yeah.
As you experience, the understanding deepens.
Yeah.
And
because the understanding goes beyond just the basic understanding you get from just working with the information and the facts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Today is Easter. It's Good Friday.
Yeah.
And maybe something around the season and the time has left a particular phrase accredited to Christ.
Oh, okay. I'd like to hear it.
I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one cometh to the Father but by me. And this is not a religious conversation.
No, it's not. Yeah.
But for an average religious person, they are well informed about this statement.
Yes.
And the next segment about this conversation is to dissect the statement, and I would like to know your perception towards it. Like, when you hear that phrase,
yes,
what do you draw from it?
So immediately, there are three elements to it: way, truth, life. And by virtue of the conversation we're having, the thing that sort of happened on is truth.
Yeah.
And I see it as the truth is the way, right? So I'm just going to go along with the lines of Christ, which is, no one commits to the Father but by me.
Yeah.
And
which is a very important phrase, which I would like us to understand. Like, he has established who he is. And he has established the pathway through which you could get to the Father.
Yeah.
So now, from a layman perspective, you're wondering, does it mean like this is a matrix and I have to pass through? So that was
some multi-dimensional.
Am I supposed to pass through your body?
Through you, maybe there's some portal somewhere. In one hole. Yes.
So
yeah, I get you.
So which is why I'm interested in understanding, when you hear that, do you interpret it from a literal perspective? Is there something deeper that one can draw from that statement, reference to Christ?
Yes. So as it pertains to Christ, I know that what is of paramount importance from his mission and his life altogether are the words which he brought to humanity as a means of guiding them towards a more luminous path, right? So the golden rule, love thy neighbors thyself, do unto others as you like others to do unto you.
It's funny. I wrote down these two things about
Really?
an hour ago. Yeah,
Wow,
literally,
interesting.
it just came to mind.
Popped
I
into
just
your head, yeah.
typed it in my notes so that I don't
So
forget.
you don't forget it, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the golden rule, but many other things, but I'll just use the golden rule because those are lines that are known universally, even outside of Christian spaces or Christian related spaces, right? And essentially it's saying, okay, I've come to help humanity become better, not just better civilized human beings, but better human beings in general, inwardly, right, and outwardly. And that is who Christ is. In the words he bring, collectively is who he is. And he's saying that these words are the way, these words are the truth, and these words will give you
The life.
not just the life, but like
Eternal
that
life.
eternal life, the spiritual enlivening,
Yeah.
if you will. I think that was the phrase I was trying to go for. So
In future, we'll probably have an episode where the conversation is focused on life.
yes,
So that's
yes.
great.
But I'm kind of focusing on truth because that's
Because we might spend hours if we
oh,
buy.
because life is a whole because life is everything and life is life.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, as I was saying, so the words are the truth, and the truth is the way to the Father. The truth is the way to spiritual enlightenment. The truth is the way to enlivening. I like the word enlivening because spiritually, there is something that comes with consuming literature or even a conversation that spiritually edifies a person. It doesn't feel like stone, it feels like bread. It feels like something that makes you feel alive. And that's why I like the term enlivening, because when you have that kind of experience, you know that, oh, there's something that it can be an exchange with a friend, it can be something you read, and you feel like, yes, I can move, I can do things, I can grow, I can progress. You feel enlivened,
uplifted.
you feel uplifted, you feel enlightened. Yeah. I'm throwing in all the words, but that's, I think
anyone that has experienced this,
Yes.
irrespective of the word you're saying,
yes,
be able
we'll
to
pick up
connect.
on it. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
with-
There is something about feeling enlivened through words, through literature, through conversations, through any sort of deeply philosophical or spiritual exchange. So that is what comes to me, and it's Easter season, so it's very much in line with
might not be by the time people listen, but
yes, but at the moment, that's where we are at, and that's the theme of conversation and inspiration. And I would say, yes, the words of Christ is the truth. And it is that truth that leads us to the Father, that leads us to spiritual enlightenment and enliven. And what was the word I used again?
Yeah, you've used it so many times. I'm disappointed, Berries. Usually the same repetition is what helps things
Helps things speak, yeah. But yeah, so that's it.
Great
moving
stuff.
forward.
Yeah. My thoughts are also in line with that as well, because his mission, from my understanding, is linked to service and help. And in so many ways, the help was for our own benefits. And the help came in form of the words which
Christ said.
Yes, he said
Yeah.
for us. Words are also deeds, and it was left for us to turn those words into a living deed in our lives.
In our lives, yeah.
A more practical deed in our lives. That was the intent of the word. So
for us to experience,
for us to bring it to life through experiencing, and hence the truth and the way, the truth and the life. Like what he represented were those teachings which he dedicated his life to providing for us, showing us the way through the teachings, and not just for the fact that it should sound inspiring and motivational, but it should lead to a change, an inward change from the person, And I believe you might have heard the saying before, as it is within, so it is without.
Without, yes.
So something about changing inwardly could invariably lead to an outward reflective change as well. And that's how I've always internalized it. So we're slowly getting to the second part of the topic.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to say this purely from an observational perspective.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not in any way throwing shades. If my opinion differs, if
Ooh, shade.
please don't get me cancelled.
Let's find out.
If my
Yeah.
opinion differs, I'm not in any way throwing any shade. But
Sure.
it's because there's a picture that came to mind when this statement also came to mind.
Yes.
I've heard people. So, for instance, I've seen situations where several people hear this same
Sentence.
which we have
Yes.
tried to express understanding on. And what they draw from it sometimes is linked to affirmations.
Mm.
So you hear things like what it demands from you is more of an affirmation of your belief.
Yeah.
And verbally altering that is enough to fulfill what the phrase or the sentence implies
Yes. Or
proclaims.
Yeah.
And I'm now interested, is that enough?
No, it can't be enough.
Because this was what also came to mind when I thought of it. I'm like, okay, I want to make money. And I'm like, I'm rich. I am rich. By tomorrow, does that make me rich?
No.
At best, it could create the possibilities.
At best, it could get you in the psychological state of mind
because
that makes you poised for getting financial success.
so I could say
You work harder, or you get more creative with your
I could
with
say
your
some of those
business.
things, and it improves my psychic state.
Yes.
And that improvement in my psychic state probably attracts, let's say, a friend now sending me a message of, there's also workshop. Would you be interested in attending?
Yeah.
And maybe in that workshop, it's an opportunity for me to meet one or two people who I can exchange, share value,
Yes.
offer them
Become
value,
potential business
a
partners.
result, get something in return. And I see that, and maybe workshop is by 9 a.m. The next morning, I'm sleeping till 10 a.m. And I feel like just because I said I am rich, every other thing should fall in place.
In line.
And I don't put that necessary work to go to that workshop and experience it.
You don't. Yeah. Because again, it ties to experience.
And experiencing, because I really don't know what it offers, but there's that openness in seeing it and knowing that something good will come
out of this. Yeah.
You understand? So the second part of this is focused on what really, for people who probably have decided that deep down they have the intent to seek the truth, what really could be the hindrance that could affect that. If I decide to seek the truth, and for some reason I am not able to make any progress with regards to that, what really could be part of the, I mean, we might not be able to extensively cover all the reasons.
Of course.
This reminds me of your elephant. But at least from
maybe touch as much of the elephants to know that it's not
like,
just a tusk or a hairy tail.
So what really could one attribute to that difficulty that is experienced by, for lack of a better word, a seeker?
Yeah. I would say definitely an openness to things that are out there, right? To tie it back to the point made earlier, where Christ said, I am the way, the truth, the life. It's very easy to take a rigid approach or perspective on that and say, there is this one thing and nothing else, right? But if the words of Christ, Him being a truthful person, are the truth is the way. And the truth is not only exclusive entirely to what is historically recorded as the words of Christ. So just that liberty and freedom to explore and be open is useful. I think those different points you made. The next thing I was going to say is experiencing, right? Because it's not just enough to just say the thing. It's not even enough to just know the thing as just a piece of
Not
information.
particularly know, but be aware.
Be aware, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, good delineation there. So it's not just enough to be aware.
It's one of those things where, ideally, if we're not on this podcast, I'll ask you, what's the meaning of that word?
I mean, we could include this in the conversation, right? Or in
Yeah.
the podcast. So delineation is, think of it as nuanced demarcation
Okay.
or nuanced separation,
Okay.
right? So to be aware of something in many ways can be interchangeably used as to know something.
Yeah, but it's totally different.
They're different,
Yeah.
exactly. So there's a delineation between to know and to know of, for example.
Yeah.
And then there's a delineation between to be aware of
Be aware of.
and exactly. So there we have it. But ignore the digression. So as I was saying, be aware of. So it's one thing to be aware of a thing, but as we had touched upon earlier during the course of this conversation, experiencing is how we know, quote unquote, the truth.
Yeah.
And even if we were to happen upon
Same way you don't know how this ginger tastes.
I have 100%. This is a perfect example. I still don't actually know how the ginger tastes. I have an idea, or at least I think I have an idea, based on my projections of my portion of the elephants.
Yeah.
The ginger elephants, right?
It's different.
A different thing entirely. I remember we now have the title for this episode of the podcast, which is the ginger elephant. So, yeah. So my own portion of the ginger elephant is I have some idea, but I actually do not know the taste of the ginger
this
shot,
particular
of this one.
Yeah.
Because just because I know what ginger tastes like and I know what honey tastes like,
Yeah.
and I know what all of these other things taste like, don't mean I know what that particular
Because this combination is unique. And
yeah.
probably
And
different
new
from-
to me.
Yeah, new.
Exactly. So in the same thing ties to the truth, right? And knowing through experiencing it. Just because you happen upon some deep, profound piece of wisdom and knowledge from the great philosophers or even Christ himself does not mean you now know the truth.
Or close
Or-
yourself out.
Or close yourself out to other sources
Experiencing it
of
from-
experiencing the truth outside of just the specific access that you've had hitherto.
Yeah.
So those are my first thoughts
And
and
this just renounces.
impressions.
Renounces the right word, right?
It depends on what you're trying to say.
Okay. Let me find another word.
No, I won't put you in trouble, I promise.
Okay. This just amplifies
Boom, yeah.
the need for a different episode on life, because
You okay? Yeah.
the truth and life are like heavily interwoven.
They are.
Yeah.
They
So
are.
in the process of you experiencing life, you also come to a better understanding of the truth. As far as you're open to experiencing life, and not life under some dogma
Yes. Or limited by some
limited-
doctrine.
Yeah, but
Or some rigid frameworks of thinking.
but life in its fullness,
Yes.
invariably, you come to a better understanding of the truth. It's almost like a consequence
Yeah.
of opening yourself to true life experience.
To borrow a ginger elephant analogy, and I'm
In that
trying
case,
to
it's
understand.
like you're walking around the
You're
elephant.
walking around the elephant.
and
You're
just
you're
feeling
touching every bit of
single
it.
part of it.
You're blind, but you're not limiting yourself to just a portion of
Yeah.
the elephant. Yes.
Yeah.
You're touching the
there's
trunk, the
motion
tusk.
and-
There's motion. there's motion, there's intentionality,
Yeah.
right? Because you apply yourself.
There's also openness.
There's
because
openness.
For every point where the previous field
digress and change from maybe a
from one
flesh
form to
bony tusk
there's
to
that
hairy,
openness
yes,
to also appreciate
the difference in
and
sensation.
internalizing it and
Yes.
drawing from it what you
Yes.
can.
Absolutely.
So that's an awesome view or
Mhm.
perspective. For me, you actually touched on a good amount of what I also looked at as things that could hinder a seeker, for lack of a better word. But just to draw some insights from the reference I gave or the story I gave, one other thing that I could say would be that earnestness, that conscious effort. Because,
Earnestness.
yes, because remember, I made reference to, okay, you say you want to be rich. It did all the internal work on your psyche and everything. And it presented you with an opportunity.
Okay.
But that opportunity wasn't going to work itself to you. There was supposed to be some action from you to meet intentionally.
Yes.
Some effort you're putting in.
Yeah.
And if you were earnestly or intentionally and genuinely after that goal, which you had set out for, it will drive you to do that necessary work of waking up by 6,
getting yourself ready, maybe doing some background studies, to understand what the workshop
for what the workshop is.
Yeah.
Finding yourself there. Then by the time you've found yourself there, that's when maybe things like the openness applied. Because if you don't find yourself
there, it doesn't matter how open you are. In other words, you have to know that there is an elephant assessment exercise going on. So you get to go where the elephants
go
is.
there.
Yeah.
So failure.
So there's a big element of personal activity. There's a big element of personal applying oneself and being intentional.
I'm being intentional. So it's like it's not enough to just desire to know the truth.
Yeah, or wish to
know the truth. There's that intentional effort you have to consistently, because it's not just a one-off thing. It's a lifetime thing where you're consistently putting in that effort that is needed to also help you be in that place where life can also reveal what you need for you. So I feel in several ways we all suffer from it. Sometimes it's in phases. Sometimes you go through a phase where you're like, and sometimes there's that hunger and you see yourself making the enthusiasm and you're doing what you need to do,
taking all the steps and doing all
the right steps. And it's a struggle for a lot of us. And I'm just saying this, just in the event that there are people who also pass through those up and downs.
Yes. The highs and the lows.
The highs and the lows. This is not to point fingers or cast judgment and say you should always
have to be on the high.
No, like
that's not life.
That's not life, yeah. But that intentionality of, because it reminds me of the baby who is trying to walk. The baby has that earnestness that I'm going to fall 10 times, but I'll get up 11 times.
Because I'm going to keep on finding ways.
You see these adults that are walking.
Yeah.
I want to do this same thing that they're doing. And I don't care what are the obstacles in between me and that goal. I'll keep trying. And eventually, to the joy of the parents, one day you see the mother calling the father and like,
hey, the baby is walking.
And you bring out the phone.
Yeah. To record
and all that. But the baby just didn't start walking just from
in that moment.
Yeah. Like,
you've had many.
If you were knowing his life, you will not know
attempting to walk and
the
and
intentionality and the earnestness that the baby put into that process.
Yes.
Wishing and wanting.
It's kind of breakthrough.
Yeah. You just see the outcome and you feel, babies walked at the age of 1.
So it's like on the 1-year birthday, the baby's like, okay, I'm gonna start walking now. Because apparently babies walk at the age of 1. That would be crazy. You better happen.
Yeah.
Just like that.
So yeah, that was why that particular point too, I felt it was also very important to highlight it.
Yeah.
Because if it's not there, a good part of what you also want to achieve at the end of the day might invariably be lost in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. With that being said, there are a couple of excerpts that come to mind. Yes. You had made reference to a body of work in our last episode,
Yes.
In the Light of Truth, the Grail Message. And while examining that work, I think there are several excerpts around the concept of truth and earnest seeking that I had seen. And I feel it would be of value to also share it on this podcast. I know it's been quite a long podcast, but trust me when I say these are really valuable excerpts that contain a lot, and it won't be of value to start explaining it ourselves.
You okay?
I think it's just best if we deliver it out there for the listeners to hear it in the original form in which it is and draw from it what it is. Same way, I'm not going to put this ginger in my mouth and not tell you.
Tell me what it tastes like. Because at the end of the day, until I taste it
Once you
myself,
taste it
I wouldn't
yourself,
know
yeah,
for
you
sure.
don't know.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go on a brief break.
You okay?
And the reading for the excerpts will be taken.
Sure.
The first excerpt reading will be taken from the lecture, What Seek Ye? It helps to throw light to the first segment of our conversation regarding truth and how we can sense it. What seek ye? What is all this tumultuous agitation? It permeates the world like a ferment, and a flood of books overwhelms all peoples. Scholars pore over ancient writings, investigating and pondering until spiritually exhausted. Prophets arise to warn, to predict. Suddenly from all sides, people strive feverishly to spread new light. But the seekers cry for light, imbued with strength to cleave through the mire, is turned aside and dies away beneath an impenetrable canopy, assiduously set up by the very people who think they help. They offer stones for bread. Look at the innumerable books. They do not animate. They only weary the human spirit. And this is proof of the barrenness of all they offer. For whatever wearies the spirit is never right. Spiritual bread immediately refreshes. Truth revitalizes. And light animates. They speak of God. But is it necessary to set up a university in order first of all to acquire the abilities to recognize the conception of the Godhead? To what lengths will this mania, which is mostly rooted only in ambition, drive them? Readers and listeners stagger along like drunkards from one place to another, unsteady, not free in themselves, one-sided, because they have been diverted from the simple path. Listen, you despondent ones. Lift up your eyes, you who are seriously seeking. The way to the highest lies open to every human being, Proficiency in learning is not the gate to it. Did Christ Jesus, that great example on the true path to the light, choose his disciples among the learned Pharisees, among the scribes? He took them from the simple, natural people, because they had no need to struggle against this great delusion that the way to the light is hard to master and must be difficult. This thought is man's greatest enemy. It is a lie. For this reason, erudition, along with those who adjust themselves to it, always remains clinging to details, whereas each man carries within himself as a gift the great inconceivable whole, and is fully capable of attaining to the noblest and highest without laborious study. Therefore, away with this needless torture of spiritual enslavement. Not for nothing does the great Master exhort us, become like children. He who bears within himself the firm volition for what is good, and strives to give purity to his thoughts, has already found the way to the highest. All else will then be added unto him. This requires neither books nor spiritual strain, neither asceticism nor solitude. He will become sound in body and soul, freed from all pressure of morbid pondering, for all exaggeration is harmful. You are meant to be human beings, not hothouse plants, which through one-sided cultivation succumb to the first puff of wind. Awake, look around you, listen to your inner voice. That alone can open the way. The second excerpt reading will be taken from the lecture, The Redeemer. This excerpt throws more light to the conversation around the popular statement accredited to Christ, being the way, truth, and the light, to which no man can come to the Father but by him. Therefore, awake. Your time on earth is precious. Because of your sins, the Savior came. That is unassailably and literally true. It is also true that he died because of the guilt of humanity. But this does not mean that your sins have been taken from you. The Savior's work of redemption was to take up the battle with darkness in order to bring light to mankind, to open the way to the forgiveness of all sins. But each one must tread this path alone in accordance with the irrevocable laws of the Creator. Christ did not come to overthrow the laws, but to fulfill them. Do not fail to recognize him who should be your best friend. Do not attach a wrong meaning to such true words. When it is quite rightly said that for the sake of man's sins all this happened, it means that the coming of Jesus became necessary only because mankind could no longer find their way alone out of their self-created darkness, nor release themselves from its clutches. Christ had to show mankind the way. Had they not entangled themselves so deeply in sin, that is, had they not taken the wrong road, then the coming of Jesus would not have been necessary. He would have been spared his life of struggle and pain. Therefore, it is quite right to say that he was obliged to come for the sake of men's sins, if the latter in their pursuit of the wrong road were not to sink into the abyss, into darkness. This does not mean, however, that the personal guilt of every individual is therewith remitted at a moment's notice, as soon as he really believes in and lives according to the words of Jesus. But if he does live according to the words of Jesus, his sins will be forgiven him. Of course, only gradually, as soon as redemption sets in through the reciprocal action ensuing from the counter-activity of his good volition. Not otherwise. It is different with those who do not live according to the words of Jesus. For them, forgiveness is absolutely impossible. This does not imply, however, that only members of the Christian religion can attain to the forgiveness of sins. Jesus proclaimed the truth. His words must therefore also embrace all the truths in the other religions. He did not want to found a church, but to show mankind the right path, which can equally well lead through the truth of other religions. For this reason, his words often accorded with the religions already existing. Jesus did not take these truths out of them, but as he brought the truth, it must necessarily contain all that was true in the other religions. He who does not know the words of Jesus personally, but who seriously strives for the truth and for ennoblement, often lives completely in harmony with the sense of these words, and will surely attain to pure faith and the forgiveness of his sins. Beware, therefore, of a one-sided outlook. It will be debasing the work of the Redeemer. He who strives earnestly after truth and purity will also not be lacking in love. Though sometimes beset with serious doubts and struggles, he will be led upwards spiritually, step by step, and regardless of what religion he may belong to, he will either here or later in the ethereal world meet the Christ Spirit, which in the final end will lead him on towards recognition of God the Father. Thus, the word will be fulfilled. No man cometh unto the Father, but by me. Think of this when you stand before this sacred, solemn token. Give fervent thanks that with his word, the Redeemer reopened the way to the forgiveness of your sins, and leave the spot with the earnest intention to go the way shown to you so that forgiveness may really be yours. To go that way does not mean just to learn the word and believe it, but to live the word. To believe it, to regard it as right, and yet not to act according to it in everything would not benefit you at all. On the contrary, you would be worse off than those who know nothing of the word. Therefore, awake. Your time on earth is precious. The third excerpt reading shall be taken from the lecture Errors. The excerpts taken from this lecture summarizes our entire conversation on truth and how we all can earnestly seek for the truth. There is many a man who lifts up his eyes seekingly for light and truth. His longing is great, but very often he lacks earnest volition. More than half of the seekers are not genuine. They bring their own preconceived opinion. Should they have to change it in the slightest degree, then they would much rather reject all that is new to them, even if it contains the truth. Thus, thousands must go under because, entangled as they are in erroneous convictions, they have restricted the freedom of movement which they need to swing themselves upward to salvation. There are always some who imagine they have already grasped all that is right. They have no intention of subjecting themselves to a strict examination based on what they have heard and read. I am naturally not addressing such as these, nor do I speak to churches and political parties, to fraternities, sects, and societies, but only in all simplicity to man himself. Far be it from me to pull down what exists, for I'm building up and completing the answers to questions as yet unsolved. Questions that must arise in everyone as soon as he thinks just a little. Only one basic condition is necessary for every listener: earnest seeking for the truth. He should inwardly examine the words and let them come to life, but not heed the speaker. Otherwise, he derives no benefit. All who do not strive to do this are simply wasting their time from the start. Faith must be alive, as Christ already once demanded. Otherwise, it serves no purpose. But to be alive means to bestir oneself, to weigh and also to examine, not dumbly accepting the thoughts of others. After all, blind faith plainly means lack of understanding. What a person does not understand, however, cannot bring him spiritual benefit either, for through lack of understanding, it cannot come to life within him. But whatever he does not fully experience within never becomes his own either, and only what is his own helps him to ascend. After all, no one can walk and go forward along a road containing great yawning clefts, where man's knowledge cannot take him any further. He must come to a spiritual standstill. This fact is irrefutable and no doubt also easily understood. Hence, he who wishes to advance spiritually should awaken. He can never proceed on his path to the light of truth in his sleep, nor with a bandage or a veil over his eyes. The Creator wants to have his humanity seen in creation. To be seen, however, means to be knowing, and knowledge does not go with blind faith. Only indolence and slothful thinking lie in such a belief, not greatness. The privilege of being endowed with the ability to think also brings man the duty to investigate. For this, he needs neither painstaking research nor imagination. The main thing is for him to stand aloof from all those who in their muddled secretiveness try to make a scanty part knowledge appear greater. It all lies so simply before men that owing to the very simplicity, they often do not come to recognition because from the outset they assume that the great work of creation must be much more difficult and intricate. Here, in spite of the best volition, thousands stumble. They raise their eyes seekingly to the heavens, not realizing that without effort, they have only to look before and around them. They will then see that through their existence on earth, they are already standing on the right road and need only go calmly ahead. Without haste and without effort, but with open eyes and a free, unprejudiced mind. Man must at last learn that true greatness lies only in the most simple and natural happening. That greatness implies this simplicity. So it is in creation. So also in man himself, who belongs to creation as a part of it. Only simple thinking and intuitive perceiving can give him clarity. Such simplicity as children still possess. Calm reflection will show him that, in the ability to comprehend, simplicity is identical with clarity and also with naturalness. The one simply cannot be thought of without the others. They form a triad that expresses one concept. Whoever makes it the foundation stone of his search will soon break through the nebulous confusion. Everything that has been added artificially will then collapse into nothingness. Man will realize that the natural order of events may nowhere be eliminated, and that at no place is it interrupted. And therein the greatness of God also reveals itself. The unchangeable vitality of the self-acting creative will. For the laws of nature are the inexorable laws of God, continually visible to all men, appealing to them, testifying to the greatness of the Creator, of an unshakable regularity, admitting of no exception. Of no exception. For a grain of oats can again bring forth only oats. Likewise a grain of wheat, only wheat, and so forth. Side by side, and cooperating with the law of gravitation, is also the no less valuable law of homogeneous species. I have already touched upon this in the saying that one species can only recognize the same species. The proverbs, birds of a feather flock together, and, like father, like son, seem to have been sensed from the primordial law. Together with the law of gravitation, it swings throughout creation. In addition to those already mentioned, there is a third primordial law in creation, the law of reciprocal action. The effect of this law is that man must reap what he has once sown, unconditionally. He cannot reap wheat where he sowed rye, nor clover where he sowed thistles. In the ethereal world, it is exactly the same. In the end, he will not be able to reap kindness where he felt hatred, nor joy where he nourished envy. These three fundamental laws form the cornerstones of the divine will. They alone automatically work out reward or punishment for a human spirit with inexorable justice. So incorruptibly, in the most wonderful delicate gradations, that the thought of a slightest injustice in the gigantic world happening becomes impossible. The effect of these simple laws brings every human spirit exactly to the place where, according to his inner attitude, he does belong. Any error here is impossible, because the manifestation of these laws can only be set in motion by the innermost condition of a human being, which will, however, set it in motion without fail in every case. Thus, to bring this about, the spiritual power of the intuitive perceptions, which is in man, is needed as a lever. Nothing else has any effect. For this reason, only the real volition, man's intuitive perception, is decisive for what develops for him in the world that is invisible to him, and which he must enter after his earthly death. Therefore, man can neither complain nor need he give thanks. For if he is raised towards the light, it is his own consistency that inevitably causes him to be raised. If he falls into the darkness, it is again his condition that forces him to do so. But every human being has reason to glorify and praise the Creator for the perfection that lies in the working of these three laws. The human spirit is thereby unreservedly made the absolute master of its own fate. For its true volition, thus, the genuine inner condition must cause it either to rise or to sink. If you try to get a true picture of the effect of these laws, singly and working together, you'll find that they contain reward and punishment, mercy or also damnation, minutely weighed for each one according to his inner state. It is the most simple process and shows the lifeline provided by every serious volition of a human being, which can never break and never fail. It is the greatest of such simplicity that forcibly drives him who recognizes to his knees before the infinite sublimity of the Creator. Which way he wishes to let himself be borne along is always left to his decision. Man must not allow himself to be confused by scoffers, but with growing recognition, man will jubilantly stand before the wonder of such a creation and consciously let himself be borne aloft to the luminous heights which he may call his home. This series was brought to you by Information Depository. For further inquiries, please send us an email to theinformationdepository@gmail.com. For more insightful content, follow us on our social media platforms, which you could find in the description below. To explore the original work and the excerpts featured in this episode, visit www.growmessage.com or send us an email. Thank you for listening.